Lions Bucs this Sunday. Thank you for hanging out. My name is Jay. Huge shout out to all of you. Just want to thank you for subscribing to the channel because it actually helps the algorithm. It helps push me out there further. So it really does mean a lot if you are subscribed. And you get to hear me just kind of gab on about our boys in Honolulu Blue. Can't believe it. Here we are, man. You know what? What a wild season. No matter how this one ends, it has been nothing but fun. And you and I have been given 2 extra weeks of football in this state where it is 5 degrees. I don't even care. Don't even care about the weather. I'm driving in the snow, smiling. I see people in their Lions garb, and I'm saluting them. I'm yelling to them. I'm rolling down the window, and they're like, what's wrong with that guy? And I'm like, look at me. Look at you. But here we are, coming into this game, here at home, Bucs coming to town. Hopefully we are wearing our all blueberries again. That would be ideal, seeing as we're like 7-0 in them this year. Just keep wearing them. You get another home game, you keep wearing them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's just what I'm saying. Week 6, there's some stuff that we could take off of it, but the Bucs are a better team. Baker has gotten better. The OC is better in play calling. The squad is looking good. Now, the Bucs Pass Defense as a whole, I think that is probably one of their weakest links. Looking at last week, just how Jared Goff picked off and picked really apart the LA Rams at 277 yards. So you're looking at 10.3 yards per attempt, passer rating of 121.8, and 1 TD. Goff looked good. St. Brown had a day. And the Bucs pass defense this year has not been phenomenal. The Bucs pass defense is allowing roughly 250 yards a game. And as I said, you look at really what Goff and St. Brown were able to do against the Bucs in week 6 in and of itself. Like, I feel pretty confident in the air, specifically Sam LaPorta. Sam LaPorta being able to get out there last week. I know he didn't put up too many yards, but he got that TD. He had some of those yards after catch. And watching him in that brace be a decoy in a way, knowing that he's coming into this game healthier than he was. I mean, that's huge in and of itself. But the Bucs struggle against tight ends. They're ranked 30th overall in the NFL when it comes to matching up against tight ends. And we have one of the best in the NFL. Period. Sam LaPorta is that. And if he is feeling better, if he is healthier coming into this game, holy smokes, the terror that he could instill on that defense, on that pass defense. But the Bucs do pose a pretty big threat, pretty huge threat up front. Their D-line is great. They blitz at the third highest rating, third most blitz rate in the NFL. Like, they bring the heat, and you and I know how Goff can panic under that blitz. If they get through our O-line, that's where there's going to be a ton of flubs. I mean, I think back to last week, Goff had a great day, and I'm so happy for him. But there was that one play where the pressure came, and he did that weird lateral. He tried to throw it backwards. Like, he just sort of looked like a deer in the headlights and was like, oh, my God, and just ripped it. And that was just with a little bit application of pressure. And the Bucs bring it. They got some talent up front. The Bucs as a whole, they're tied for 7th most sacks in the NFL. Now, where I feel comfortable, though, is knowing our O-line is a top 5, top 3 O-line in the NFL, and they're all healthy. That is humongous. Having Ragnow, having Decker, having Sewell, having Jackson, having all the boys, Glasgow, up front to protect Goff, I feel comfortable going up against this good D-line. But for me, that's where there's going to be, my eyes are going to just be locked in on the trenches. Personally, though, I love watching the battle of the trenches. I think they are fascinating. A lot of people, I think some people's eyes are just going straight to the QB. They're going to the running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. I kind of always have fixated because I just think there's so much that's happening up front that people miss. And knowing that they have a solid D-line, that we have a solid O-line, that matchup is going to be a ton of fun, and it's going to be huge. We need the big boys up front to bring their A game. Now, another area where things kind of get a little bit hairy for Detroit is our secondary. And it's not just because C.J. Gardner-Johnson took some shots at Baker, and Baker fired him right back, and I got to give him to Baker. It was pretty funny. But to me, it's the fact that Baker against Philadelphia just threw for over 330 yards. He just put up over 330 yards, multiple TDs against Philadelphia. And I know Philly is free-falling. Philly was free-falling. They were like Icarus, falling from the sky because the wings melted off of his body. And if you don't know the story of Icarus, this is a good one. Highly recommend it. I'm just also a fan of Greek mythology. I find it fascinating. What a interesting... I digress. But Baker had a day, and Baker, when he is on, and this is where week 6, Baker was off. He was not playing to his best. He was not living up to what I know that the guy can play and we were able to beat him 20-6. Baker wasn't able to do anything that game. He was overthrowing. He was all over the place. Well, he has found a rhythm, and that rhythm kind of freaks me out, especially when, I don't know, Nick Mullins threw for almost 1,000 yards on our secondary. I mean, granted, Justin Jefferson, but this is a huge element of our team that we all know that we're kind of like, we want to put blinders on, but we know is a legitimate problem, and it is the secondary. And some people are talking about Cam Sutton getting burnt left and right. Listen, Cam Sutton is phenomenal. He is. I love Cam Sutton. But I don't know if he's a true CB1. That's just my own personal take. I don't know if he is, and we're asking him to do a lot of stuff that maybe he shouldn't have to do. And quite frankly, now getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, if you're going to talk that smack, Gardner-Johnson, let's bring it. Let's bring it, baby. And make sure we can shut Baker down because, quite frankly, this is one of our greatest struggles. It's our secondary. And that's where I'm worried. We saw what Stafford did with Puka Nacua. Obviously, like I said, Justin Jefferson and Nick Mullins. And then really CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. Like, last 4-5 weeks, I have been not impressed whenever there is some solid yardage. Now, I will say this. The moment we get into that red zone, when there's 30, 25, 20 yards left, our defense shows up. The moment that there is an end zone in sight, our defense, our secondary, the linebackers specifically, that's when we're popping. That is when we're popping, and it's a beautiful sight. But we got to figure out what to do with the first 65, 70 yards. You know what I'm saying? But as a whole, that is my greatest worry. If Baker's having a good day, oh man, this could be a high-scoring game. This could be a very high-scoring game. We need to get that pressure on Baker. We got to get the pressure on him from Hutch. And this is where James Houston coming back is huge. I put out a video about it yesterday. And if James Houston is cleared to play, that would be humongous because I saw a stat where Hutch in the last 3 games has 7 sacks, right? And I will say this, beautiful stat, but do not let the statistic column of sacks fool you because you even looked last week against the Rams and 2 of them were basically, he just put his little, boop, just touched Stafford, went down. It's the pressures. It's the pressures that matter, and if we can apply the pressure to him, if we can apply the pressure, because you look at last week in the wild card round, Hutchinson applying what was the most important play, I believe. It was Hutchinson applying pressure on 3rd and, I think it was 3rd and 4. It was LA's last drive. We apply enough pressure. Hutch gets that pressure on Stafford to the point where the tackle, the O-lineman, had to hold Hutch. With that hold, they move him back. All of a sudden, it's 3rd and 14, 3rd and 17, something crazy. And then at that point, obviously, there's so much speculation of the call on Puka Nacua. But you are applying pressure. You force the O-linemen to hold. You move them back. That's what we need. Put them under pressure. It also happened earlier in the game where Cooper Kupp was wide open. wide open on the left side of the field for a 50-yard touchdown. But because of the pressure applied on Stafford, Stafford had to release the ball. He rips it way out. And quite frankly, man, the sacks, that column, the statistic, it's a nice column and everything. But I want to see QB pressures. I want to see it's more over like what you're watching in the moment and being like, man, Hutch is getting there. Hutch is forcing the ball out when it shouldn't be getting out. We need to do that to Baker. And if we can add James Houston, my God, would that be humongous, because that is one of our greatest struggles, dude. So, yeah, for any of you who didn't watch my video yesterday, James Houston is back. We don't know if he's a go yet, but we have released Julian Okwara, which leads me to believe that James Houston will be back. Are both my fingers crossed? Yeah. Wait, are all of my fingers crossed? Everything but my thumbs? Oh, that was weird. Hated all of that. Lastly, as we roll into this game, I'm just going to say it. One thing that I am extremely disappointed by the Lions organization are the costs of these tickets. Bro, you're talking about a blue-collar town. You were talking about a blue-collar town. I cannot afford to go to this game, and I'd love to be there. I would love to be there, but 1,500 bones for a single game? Get out of here. Come on. Listen. If we're expected to be perennial winners, let's drop the prices. Let's drop the price. Don't be doing the thing where you're like, well, let's just grab as much money as we can, as quickly as we can from these people who are starving, who are willing to give up house and home in order to go see this game. I don't know who's in charge of ticket prices. Rod Wood, if that's you, be better, bro. Because I ain't spending $1,500 and I would love to be there. But this is a blue-collar town with starving fans. And you're like, yeah, we'll throw you some bread, but it's going to cost you your entire house. I don't know. I think it's silly. Anyways, Lions Bucs, I'm so amped for this game. And really, I think getting the monkey off the back of what last week was is such a sigh of relief. Getting that first playoff win monkey off the back against Stafford. Watching Jared Goff get that W over the coach who abandoned him. Like, all of it is so poetic. It is so beautiful. And there's so much that we could just rest in that. And I believe that this Lions team will be perennial winners. Maybe Rod Wood doesn't, and that's why they're charging so much for these tickets. But I believed it the moment that Dan Campbell came in. And I believed it when we had 3 W's. Like, I saw it. There was something different, and it's the culture and really the guys buying into it and the specific guys we have brought in. So I'm not worried. Win or lose this Sunday, it's exciting to be here. It's exciting to be in the final 8, final 4 on this side. And hey, man, enjoy it. Enjoy this Sunday. Relax. Let the boys roll, baby. Let the boys roll. I'm excited to see what Goff, St. Brown, Sam LaPorta, Jahmyr Gibbs, the entire O-line. Excited to see what they all do. And the defense, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Let's back those words up. Let's step it up. Back up your words against Baker and show them. Because otherwise, Baker's the type of guy who is going to flip you off mid-game. And he's going to have a lot to say at the end of it. So, St. Brown, I'm expecting a lot out of him, knowing that they chose Mike Evans over him for the Pro Bowl. I want to see us go to St. Brown early and often. But hey, man, drop your thoughts in the comments. What's your score prediction? Let me know. That is it. We will be back probably Sunday morning or before the game. We might do a live stream. If we win, we'll live stream after. It'll be a good time. So that is it. That is it for today. Enjoy this freezing cold day here in Michigan or wherever you are. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, for being a part of what we have been doing here now for 3.5 years. It's been nothing but fun. It's fun also doing this into late January. I mean, the fact that I haven't enjoyed a Lions game on potentially my birthday in years. So wild times here in Detroit. Loving every single bit of it. And that is all I have to say about that. Actually, I remember I was telling you guys about my D&D tiles. Check these out, man. I mean, I'm not going to be putting the wood and the stone together, but I gave them a nice light wash. Next thing I'm going to do is kind of Mod Podge over them. But it's nice because they're magnetic, so they stick to one another. Now I got a bunch over there, but applying the wash to it was really nice. I think it really just added a certain element that it needed to kind of make it look more like a tavern, give it that dirty, old, worn out look. All right,